Hey everyone, welcome to the Small Screen Couch Commentary Podcast, where we watch your favorite TV shows, give you our thoughts, and ask for yours. I'm Alex.
And I'm Billy. We're excited to watch and rewatch the best TV shows from start to finish and hope you're ready to take the ride along with us.
We'll talk about the best characters and their stories, reveal some hidden gems, and look for you to do the same.
From sci-fi to comedy, drama to anime, we've got it all covered. So grab your favorite snack and we'll see you on the couch.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 7
Almost there.
of The Boys, season
Almost.
1.
Yeah, buddy.
Small Screen Couch Commentary coming to you live for the first time. We're experimenting with some new things. You won't be able to actually see this live, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, I let it go. You know, I figured you'd get it on your own. You know,
I did. But eventually, we are hoping to come to you guys live as we record each time. We're testing out this live right now. So while we are live, and this is somewhere out there on the interwebs, you can't see it right now, but eventually you will. I want to get straight into things because this episode was jam-packed.
It's a wild ride.
A lot of stuff happening. A lot of things
Intensity.
going on. Yes, very much so. So first thing I want to go over is, which, you know what, we missed it. I think the last episode, maybe 2 even.
Oh, snap.
The director, or well, the title of this episode is The Self-Preservation Society, directed by Dan Attias.
Shout out to Dan.
This guy's been in TV for a very long time, since the mid 80s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's done everything from Miami Vice to Entourage to It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia to Homeland to Snowfall. A veteran in the game. I can't say that I know him or know of him that well, but I don't really know that many people anyway.
No, again, we're just guys on a couch.
We are just guys on the couch. So he was the director. First time ever, I think, in the show, 2 writers on this episode.
Oh.
So we have Craig Rosenberg, whose big claim to fame was Preacher, but then also Gen V.
That's right.
Later on. And then Ellie Monahan, who pretty much has not done that many things outside of The Boys as a main writer.
Okay.
She was a writer's assistant on Mr. Robot.
Oh, okay.
Great show. I never actually finished, but I want to.
Never watched.
Sure. So yeah, spoiler alert again. If you haven't seen this, definitely go watch it. I'm not even going to say if you don't care. You need to watch this episode.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
First things first, as always. What were you snacking on?
Some tortilla chips with some cheese.
Yo, is the Matrix thing right now?
First time ever?
I had tortilla chips as well.
Okay.
I had spinach artichoke dip though.
Oh, no, I don't do that kind of stuff.
What?
No, cheese.
Okay. Well,
cheese. I also found a trick the other day.
Yeah.
Where you take a spoon, you get the nacho cheese, and then you just scrape the cheese off the spoon with the chip. So you don't be dipping into that small bowl with your big old hands of the cheese.
What? Why would you do that?
Because I don't want cheese on my knuckles.
Who are you putting your whole hand into the bowl?
Once it gets low, what are you gonna do?
Wait,
how do you get the cheese out when it's low?
You're talking about like from the container.
From the container, yeah.
Dude, you just scoop some out into a bowl.
No. This way is fancy and nice. Dude.
It is fancy, but it's stupid. That's like eating pizza.
I don't have to waste. I don't have to waste a bowl. I don't have to waste a bowl. Okay.
Moving right along.
Scoop, slice, bam.
Moving right along.
And there's no double dipping technically, you know.
What'd you give the rating on this episode?
This was an 8 point. What did I'm not on my Word document open. Hold on. 8.7. That's what I gave it.
Another first 8.7.
Did you really?
As well. It's right here. It's right here.
Oh, snap. Yeah, let's go. I want to say I gave another one 8.7 this season. I can't remember. One like second episode, maybe.
So I think this is my highest rated episode so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm surprised we both gave it the same rating.
And ate the same food.
And very similar. Very similar. But yeah, so only one new character here, which, to be honest, I don't think we're going to get that many new characters towards the end of a season.
Right.
Once the new season starts, we'll probably get some new characters, but last few episodes, we're not going to get that many. New character here, Dr. Vogelbaum.
Important character.
Very important character here. And I'm curious to see your thoughts on a couple of things. But once again, I know we we haven't really given you guys much time to get used to things, but we're switching up the format one more time here.
Just find out what works for us and for you and
Yeah.
for the world.
Yeah.
You know.
I think what we're going to do is just go through the entire episode, just give you a quick summarization of the entire thing.
Let's slice it down. Go.
Let you know what happened, and then just talk about it, give our thoughts. Starts off with a flashback to a Vought Christmas party 8 years ago. The usual suspects are there: the Deep, Maeve, Madeline, Homelander. But we also now find out this is where Becca Butcher
She
used to work.
works. Yeah.
She was a social media manager. I guess she did some work for Homelander. He really liked it, wants her to take over. Billy is also there with her, clean shaven.
Clean shaven Billy again. He meets Homelander. That's a weird interaction. Homelander is like flirting with his wife in front of him.
Right in front of him.
Yeah.
And Billy doesn't seem to hate Soups at this point yet, but he's not really fond of them either.
Yeah. He's supposed to go home and have sex with his wife. That's all he really wants to do.
I mean, that is essentially what he did want to do for sure.
That's the dream.
But then we kind of flash forward. Homelander then is looking at screenshots or stills of the boys. He's got he's got Kimiko, Huey, and Billy, and they do a little flashback to when he remembers him now from the race with A-Train, just staring at him, and then puts the connection to the Christmas party.
Like, oh damn,
a while back.
He's mad at me.
Oh yeah. So he's essentially now thinking, okay, we've got to get on the offensive. He gets the 7, what's left of them, together.
Not much left.
He even mentions, well, now we're just the 5. And he starts accusing them of being lazy and saying, we're all slipping. These people are attacking us. And then he gets into the beef now, the meat of the matter, I should say, and pretty much accuses Starlight of working with the boys.
Right.
Now, at this point, Huey was not known to Starlight as being a bad guy. Some of the other people did, or Homelander obviously did.
Yeah.
But she sees him on the screen and is shocked. She's saying, I didn't know about this.
Starting to cry.
Right. She's getting real emotional. Coincidentally, Maeve comes to her rescue and says, like, she didn't know. You got to chill. Stop this. They even have like a little bit of a square off at one point. Like, I thought they were going to go to blows, like Homelander and
Maeve.
Starlight. No, I'm Starlight.
Oh,
he was like, his eyes start to go. He's like, you keep your hands where I could see them, or something like
that. Yeah, and here's the thing: she's super powerful, and so is everybody else. But Homelander, when those eyes go red, you shut the fuck up. Yeah.
100%. But then Homelander's basically just like, you know what? Fine, she's your problem to deal with then. At the same time, the boys are now scrambling. They've realized they've gotten caught because Huey gets a phone call from his dad, who he thinks is just checking in on him. We find out he's not. A-Train is holding him hostage.
A-Train is pissed.
Yeah. Realizes his bank accounts are frozen. Billy checks the security camera at his house or his apartment, whatever. They're all on the run now.
Yeah.
So Huey and Kimiko, they go and save Huey's dad. They come back. They get everybody to the warehouse. Goes to his family to get them safe. We finally see is it his girlfriend or is it his wife?
It's his wife, right? Yeah.
I don't know if he ever cleared it up.
It's his wife.
But we meet Monica. No, sorry, Monique.
Monique.
And we find out he's actually got a daughter.
Yep.
Which was never, known to us.
Right. Which is probably smart on MM's part to not tell people about the daughter.
Right. We also find out Monique calls him Marvin.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that's just a nickname. We'll see.
Or his mother's milk nickname.
Who knows?
That's what my mama knows. That's what my mama named me.
So they're kind of on the run now. They're trying to make sure that everybody's safe. A-Train. Oh, I forgot to say, when A-Train has Huey's dad hostage and Kimiko saves them, she breaks A-Train's leg.
So, bone out the skin.
Yeah, pretty nasty.
Boneless chicken wing.
Was that really necessary?
No, but it just felt right with us. I bone out, so I went with it.
Oh gosh. So throughout this whole episode, tensions are high between both the 7 and the boys.
Yeah, buddy.
Homelander is trying to get information here because he's starting to put things together. He's starting to connect the dots. He goes to Madeline, asks her, hey, do you remember this old marketing employee we used to have? And at first she tried to play it off. I think Madeline knows.
Ashley?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
We fired her.
Yeah. And he's like, no, I'm talking about 6, 7, 8 years ago. Becca. And Madeline's like, oh, yeah, Becca Butcher. I don't know what happened to her. I thought she quit. He tells her, oh, turns out she was missing. He kind of realizes now she's not being truthful with him on everything
at all.
So he's a little suspicious of Madeline. I think for the first time.
He's starting to, like you said, realize you don't control me.
Yeah. So this is when he then goes to see Dr. Vogelbaum. And I don't want to rush through this part just yet because we're going to go through the whole thing and just
conversationally.
That's right. We're going to converse about stuff. But Dr. Vogelbaum was, I guess, one of the head scientists at Vought.
Yeah, Dr. Frankenstein. You know,
he's retired now. He's got some mansion somewhere.
Big ass mansion.
Homelander drops in on him, and he's sitting there with his dogs outside. I guess his retirement plan is breeding dogs. Kind of weird, but
you know what?
Scientists.
He also was breeding humans or soups. So
true. Not that far of a stretch for him.
Yeah, that's his world.
But essentially, he wants to get more of the truth of what happened. And Dr. Vogelbaum essentially tells him, "Hey,
if you want the truth, just ask me."
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll be truthful.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells Homelander that Becca did not necessarily just disappear. She didn't just go missing. So if we recall from before, the big problem that Billy has with Soups, but specifically Homelander, is that Homelander raped his wife. Turns out, after that whole situation, Becca was pregnant.
Not just pregnant with a baby.
Soup baby. Which is crazy because it would be like
that would be the first of
because all the other babies are brought into the world through Compound V. So she goes to see Dr. Vogelbaum and Madeline's in on this. She knows, and they find out, okay, you got a soup baby, because she lifts up her shirt.
It's glowing.
It's got glowing like Homelander eyes in her stomach. Tells Homelander, hey, she was pregnant with your baby. We told her we'd bring her to a secure facility and help her with the delivery. But unfortunately, things did not go so well. And the baby essentially clawed its way out of her.
Yeah.
Blood everywhere in this scene. It was disgusting.
It was really gross. Yeah.
Like spilling out onto the floor everywhere. And Vogelbaum tells her that she died.
Tells Homelander that she died.
Tells Homelander that Becca died. And Homelander asks, what about the baby? And he says the baby lasted about 10 minutes or something like it. 10 seconds or 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was seconds. It was seconds, I'm sure.
And then immediately died as well. So yeah, and that kind of hits Homelander a little bit.
Yeah. He even asked, was it a boy?
Yeah.
Which is just something I feel like he's got a note for Homelander's like style. For some reason, he would ask, was it a boy?
For sure. Vogelbaum tells him, does it really matter?
Yeah.
Well, baby's dead, unfortunately. So yeah, at this point, then the boys, they're all worried. Billy, if we recall from before, he is in this for his own gains to get back at Homelander, and him and MM start having a conversation. MM's like, look, dude, I got a family to protect. We have to do something here. We can't just be hiding. And so he goes to Billy and he says, what happened with Susan Raynor?
Yeah.
CIA.
He's like, she didn't give you Homelander.
Yeah.
He knew,
He knew.
Yeah.
And so he says, I'm betting you went to her. She was going to go for things, but then you wanted Homelander. She wouldn't give it to you. So,
freaking MM.
You turned it down.
That dude's smart.
He is smart.
He
is smart. And Billy pretty much confirms that that's what happened. MM convinces him or tries to convince him and says, hey, you've got to do something. You got to call her in here because we're, out on our own. and we've got Soups after us now.
Yep.
Not only Soups, the most dangerous Soup of them all.
The Soup.
Right. So Billy eventually makes a call, gets the family to safety. They don't take the boys; they just take, Huey's dad, MM's family. You know who's strangely missing from this?
Who?
Cherie.
Oh yeah, but
We haven't
she's
seen Cherie in a minute.
Yeah, she's always on the run. That girl, she's sneaky deaky. That girl.
But yeah, so they go out, and now Susan is there saying, "Okay, I'm protecting your family. You give me what I want." He gives her the sample of Compound V.
Yep.
This then allows the CIA to investigate Vought. They actually end up bringing in Madeline to the CIA office. She doesn't seem that she's under arrest necessarily at this point, but
Almost
she's
like a
not necessarily
deal.
free to leave.
Yeah.
So she goes, and Susan tells Madeline essentially, "You guys are fucked."
Yeah, she was so badass in that moment. Yeah.
I like her. This was a really cool moment for her. She basically tells them they're fucked, says, "I've got all of the information I need to essentially bankrupt your company, make you guys into nothing." But yeah, she does sort of just strike a deal with her, and she says, "Look, you we'll allow things to continue here, but one, no more Soups in the military." Madeline's trying to say, "Oh, well, they're already voting on it. It's about to be passed anyway." And she's like, "Do you think they're going to want to hear anything about Soups in the military once I tell them that babies were getting experimented on and all this other stuff, all the other crazy things you guys are doing?" Tries to shut Madeline down. Madeline is kind of nervous at this point.
Yeah.
She's shaking in her boots a bit.
She really is.
And Susan's just telling her, "You're done. We will kind of oversee things a little bit here, and we'll figure things out as to what's going to happen with Vought next. But everything that you thought you were going to happen
ain't happening.
Not happening." And then oddly out of nowhere, Susan gets a call from somebody else at the CIA, and we find out then that there's some sort of black ops mission that was supposed to be going down in Syria.
Right. It was the person who planned
somewhere in the Middle East.
Person who planned the plane heist is who they were going
Right,
after.
right.
Yes.
The terrorists that planned the plane heist. Exactly. I forgot. Good call there. So they have, I don't know if it's like Navy SEALs or
SEAL Team 6
whatever.
up in that bitch. Yeah.
They're over there and they are trying to neutralize the threat. They're in some sort of like warehouse type building. They start taking out terrorists left and right. They even get to the target, who was the person that I guess planned everything. Murk him. He's done.
Dunzo.
And Susan's like, "Okay, well, what are you showing me here? This looks like mission accomplished.
We got him. Cool. Yeah.
Gentlemen, we got him."
But they're like, hold on.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, but wait,
there's more."
And then another guy comes out of nowhere, shirtless. And mind you, when they're looking at this video feed, it's like night vision. It's green.
Creepy.
Yeah, you can't really like make everything out. But this other terrorist person comes out of nowhere, no shirt on. He's got huge tattoo across his chest. The military guys are there. They're telling him, "Freeze, put your hands up," blah, blah, trying to get him to comply. And Susan asks, like, "What does that say on his chest?" And gosh, now I can't remember his name.
I forget it right now. Yeah.
Nabik? No, don't remember. I'm gonna come back.
Good enough.
Look that up.
Oh.
But he has something tattooed on his chest that essentially means the captain.
Yeah.
And as the military guys are trying to get him to comply, he kind of just starts glowing a little bit. And then out of nowhere, he just completely explodes. Now, I think at this point, Susan still is wondering, like, what happened here? What's going on?
Right.
And then they cut to an outside feed. The whole building is on fire. And out comes this guy. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, is that a Soup? Like, do terrorists have Vought was planning?" But it's the first that anyone outside of the boys and or Vought realize what's going on. And Madeline is kind of shocked here then, because she's now realizing, wow, well, if terrorists have soups, that's a problem.
Nakib.
Nakib. I had it backwards. I said Nabik.
Yeah.
Nakib.
Good job.
Dyslexia is maybe something that I just haven't ever been diagnosed with. I don't know.
Or maybe you're just getting it now. That's your superpower now.
I guess. So yeah, that's just a very shocking revelation to her. We all kind of maybe didn't see it coming, but knew it was something that could be a possibility.
Yeah.
Show closes out here. Now, mind you, the entire episode after Starlight found out that Huey is a bad guy, quote unquote, she does not want to talk to him.
Ignoring his calls, yeah.
Right. Finally, she hits him up, says, "Hey, I need you to explain, what's going on and why I should believe you." Goes to meet him at the park bench where they first met.
How cute,
Yeah, they're having a little talk, having a little chit chat. Huey's trying to convince her that he's not actually a bad guy, but basically it's just like not believing him. He admits that they killed Translucent. They've been working this whole time against the Seven. She's not having it. She's like wanting to basically like arrest him and turn him into the police. And I think she even says like, you'd be better off there.
Yeah, because he's like, they're gonna kill me within a minute.
Right.
And she's like, you're better off with the police. I'm like, no, he's fucked if you take him anywhere.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But then Huey, puts on the charm, starts to calm her down and talk to her. And then out of nowhere
spills the beans. No, he also doesn't he spill the beans about
oh yes.
Or is that
he tells her that basically soups are not born that way.
And she's like,
they were experiments essentially, and she is not really believing it. She's kind of in shock. She's like, no, we were chosen by God and blah blah.
Yeah.
And she's upset about this then, and Huey starts to kind of help her realize like, oh, everything you think is good is really not. Like, I'm not great either.
Yeah, but
these people are way
you're working for like the worst of the worst of the worst, sir.
Yeah. And then out of nowhere, you see a little red dot on Starlight.
I hate this part.
Dude, we'll have to come back to this and discuss it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, she ends up getting shot, and Huey turns around, sees Billy with that 50 cal,
bro, big ass gun,
puts her down, and he's like, Huey, you got to get out of here. He's like, no, what are you doing?
And she's fine. She's just like,
well, she's
got a bruise.
I wouldn't say she's fine.
Yeah, she's got a bruise. Yeah.
It's a 50 cal. It's gonna put some work in.
Yeah. Well, most people.
Yeah. Well, just about everybody that's a human.
Yeah.
Huey starts like trying to figure out what's going on, and Billy tells him, he's like, look, you got to run, you got to go, you got to get out of the situation, because at this point, now that Susan Raynor has what she needs against Vought, she's pretty much given Billy and the boys free reign to do whatever they need to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, Starlight kind of starts to get up. Billy puts her another round in her, and then him and Huey run off.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the episode.
Weird.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. Wild ride for sure.
So I want to get into a few things here.
Talk to me, big dog.
So first off, the beginning of the episode, when they're at this Christmas party, it almost seems at that point, and it's 8 years ago, however long ago, it seems like things maybe, just maybe, aren't as bad as we think they are. Everybody there's happy. People are chill. Like the Deep, he's even like closer with Madeline during the party.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Do you think that they were still like, were they evil at that point?
Yeah, 100%.
You think so?
100%. Okay. Yeah, they were still the same Vought. It might be not to the extreme you have now, where like, but that's because it was very well hidden back then, maybe.
Right.
Now it's like starting to get out there. We see the boys doing their thing. So maybe it's just more like now in current day, it seems really bad. Back then, it looked pretty and nice, but it really, no, I don't think they were ever chill.
People.
Yeah.
All right.
They're all about the money, baby.
They are.
Plus,
unfortunately,
they were still putting Compound V in babies back then.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, but I do like the scene a lot. You get to know Becca and Billy a little better. Like they're just madly in love, even after being
Oh,
married. They're just a happy couple. And she's a hard worker, so Homelander is like flirting with her, but also like, I love what you did. I want you to do my stuff all the time. So she basically right there gets a promotion at the party,
right.
and that's really dope to see. But it's like, she's hard working, she's excited for it. Billy's kind of like, he is a little weirded out by it.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't blame him, but what can you do? It's freaking Homelander.
Right.
And it's your girl's job.
Exactly. It's like, do you really want to, mess things up for your wife?
Yeah.
So I want to get into this whole situation with Becca and Billy because this is really the whole driving force behind everything that's happened.
Yeah.
So if we go a little bit further into the show, we didn't go through it in the recap here because it's just a small time wise anyway, small portion of the show. But one of the reasons why the boys got caught was because Mesmer, if you recall from the previous episodes, had given Homelander the info, the lowdown on the boys.
Yeah, a piece of dirt.
Billy realizes when they all have their homes raided and they're on the run here that it's Mesmer's fault. So he's upset with the boys, but he's like,
yeah,
I'm going to go deal with this.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Goes and tracks down Mesmer, who's like at a train station or something somewhere.
Yeah, he's getting ready to get away.
Yeah, I think he's either at a train station or an airport, something.
This scene's nuts.
And he finds Mesmer. Now, if you recall, Mesmer is a soup who can touch people and read their minds and see their thoughts. And so he's trying to get away from Billy. And Billy tracks him down.
He goes it's like a scary movie situation where he ran into a bathroom, not somewhere we have an exit,
Yeah.
Just one entrance and one exit to this bathroom.
Yeah. Typical, like that was a boneheaded move type situation.
Yeah.
But Billy finds him, starts whooping on him. Now, every time he hits him, Mesmer is getting some of his thoughts, some of his memories.
Yeah.
And he's seeing, okay, he's thinking about his wife. It goes to these little flashbacks. And Mesmer tells him, "You're missing wife? I can help you find her."
Yeah.
And Billy is like, kind of stops. He's silent. He like helps Mesmer up. And I'm thinking initially, he's like, "Oh wow, maybe he's gonna like be
like, okay, fine, help me find her." And
right. And maybe this will be like a turning point
for Mesmer.
For Mesmer, but also just for the whole situation in general, where it's like, okay, maybe Becca's not missing. Maybe Mesmer knows something and he's going to help out. And so Billy helps him up, starts touching it, like grabs his head kind of gently at first. And you don't see what thoughts are going to his head, but clearly whatever it is,
not good.
Not good.
Mesmer's like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like what he's seeing. And then Billy repeatedly smashes his head into a sink.
Yeah.
And
bending bones, skull,
yeah,
everything. It's
blood everywhere.
It's disgusting.
Now, do you think Mesmer is dead?
I think so.
I mean, he probably is.
You don't survive that.
Probably not. Crazier things have happened.
True.
And he's a soup, so maybe.
His power is just touching people. I don't think he has strong skin, as you could tell. As you could tell by him being smashed in, his skin is not strong. His bones are not strong. Matter of fact, Kimiko broke his bone, but she's strong as hell. But
true.
Yeah, I don't think he lived through that.
Now, this next part is a very important part because Mesmer's incapacitated or whatever. Billy's now remembering the first time he meets Mallory, and this is the first time we see Mallory. She's been talked about a few times throughout the show, hasn't been mentioned in a while.
No.
But we see how Billy and Mallory met. Billy takes a flashback and it goes to sometime after
Becca goes missing.
He's at his house or his apartment, whatever, gets a knock on the door, and it's Mallory. She's a CIA operative of some sort. Doesn't really make it clear what her title is, but essentially tells him like, hey, here's some footage that I need to show you. And he's like, nah, I'm not with it. And she's like, no, you'll want to see this. Somehow had gotten surveillance footage from
Vought.
In Vought.
Yeah.
And it shows Becca and Homelander going into some room, some office somewhere. And that's all you see at first. And Mallory tells him, hey, they were in there for a long time. They were in there for a few hours. She comes out. She's looking disheveled. She has, a shoe missing, whatever. She puts a shoe back on, and we assume then this is when
The rape
the
occurred.
rape
Yeah.
happened. She's not looking well.
Yeah.
And so Mallory basically tells Billy, like, hey, this is what happened to your wife. I can help you get revenge.
Yeah.
And
Almost doing what Billy did for Huey.
but yeah, it's very similar, those
Yeah.
parallels.
Yeah.
It was a very similar situation. Like, hey, something happened to your loved one. I'm the person that can help you get back at them.
I think she even used the same word. I can't remember what it is. I forget. Get payback or something. But it's the same term that Billy uses earlier in the season, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like this scene a lot. Because this is where you see, I think Billy was probably a pretty good dude.
I would assume so. I think Billy's always been somebody
he's a badass no matter
what. Badass, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. But was a good person.
Yeah.
And obviously this whole situation that happened with Becca and Homelander flipped a switch in him.
Oh yeah. But yeah, you can see Mallory there and everything's pretty. I don't like this scene also for the fact that you see what happened. Like you see her go in there and come out like whatever hours later, all disheveled. I feel so bad for her in that moment. But yeah, we got to see Billy's turn into the dark side.
Yeah, it's a pivotal moment in this episode because you get to see what was the catalyst for essentially everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And terrible what happened for sure. So again, makes me question my allegiance to Homelander as my favorite character. But I feel also that Homelander is just a much more he has more depth to him than anybody else. I feel the only person that maybe comes close is probably Billy.
Yeah,
I would say
for sure.
But Homelander's just got a lot going on, and the emotions that are evoked when Homelander's on screen, they range from funny to oh my gosh, that's amazing,
stressful,
crazy, stressful.
Yeah,
hatred.
The scene where he gets the 5 together,
right,
was so freaking intense.
Yes, I do want to talk about that too. So that whole the funniest part of that, there was a hilarious moment in that scene though. They start off and Homelander's like ripping into Starlight and into A-Train, and he doesn't really go in on Maeve, but the one person he's like,
not you, Black Noir.
Yeah, Black Noir, you've been doing great. And
yeah.
like we've never seen Black Noir do like anything aside from that time he was tracking down Frenchie.
Yep.
Like that is it.
Yep.
So it's like, is this a gag? Is this a joke?
Yeah.
But
that's Black Noir. He doesn't do anything except what he's told.
Yeah, basically. But we don't even see him do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm starting to even wonder, is Black Noir even a him? Do we know? Do we know if it's him or her?
Man, I guess you don't know at this point, right? Yeah.
It's a mystery.
I know. Or I don't. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I know.
But yeah, so they're going in here, and like the part where Homelander was going in on Starlight and his eyes started to glow, I thought they were going to fight. I thought it was about to be a throwdown right there.
Yeah.
Because Starlight has that similar, like when she gets angry, her eyes start to glow.
Yeah.
I'm like, is this about to be a battle?
He like says, like he talks about her heart rate and stuff like that.
Right.
So obviously something's wrong. And that's when like Maeve's like, well, she got played. She's brokenhearted.
Yeah.
But the whole time, like he's even right when he gets him there and he brings them all up on the screen. I was like, I remember the first time watching it, even this time watching it, I'm like, oh fuck, like everything's just gonna change here. The mood in the room's gonna change, and he starts yelling at Starlight and A-Train, and then A-Train gets pissed off at Starlight. He's like, "You bitch!" Like
right. Oh, and he recognizes too that
he saw Huey
was the one that was at Pop Claw's apartment.
Yeah,
yeah,
and I think as well. He's like they're both outside the apartment. So then he's starting to realize all this stuff, and he actually. That turns him into thinking Huey's really the one who killed Pop Claw. Like it's his fault that Pop Claw's dead.
Right. I mean, obviously we know A-Train is the one who actually did it.
Right.
But he's kind of realizing now that some of the reason why he got on that path is because of Huey.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Excuse me. A-Train has always just been kind of an unstable person. And even when he's holding Huey's dad's hostage, we know he's back on the compound.
Yeah, or he needs some bad.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. It's either that he's like going through withdrawal,
Yeah,
or he's back on it. Because when Huey's dad is there, he's acting really weird. But I want to go back to the meeting with the five really quick, because Maeve stood up for Starlight here, and Homelander even made a comment like, "Oh wow, you usually don't
do
care
anything
about anything or anybody except yourself."
Yeah,
So it was nice they had that kind of like little moment, and I'm wondering here if this will be a turning point for Maeve, because although Maeve hasn't really been evil necessarily throughout the show,
right.
she has also been complacent in letting evil things happen.
Yeah, she's mentally and emotionally detached to everything.
Right.
Because she's been through it. She's like, this is all fucking terrible. I don't care. I just want to get paid and do my thing. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if now that she's stepping up for Starlight here, is this going to be a situation where she's going to be maybe stepping up a little bit more, maybe being a better person, maybe being not a good guy, but not as bad of a bad guy?
Right. I mean, I think this helps that Starlight in an earlier episode was like, I used to look up to you. I read your biography a million times about saving the bus. I guess that wasn't real. None of it's true. And like really just goes in on her about it.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of woke Maeve up a little bit. And she's like, basically she doesn't want what happened to her to happen to Starlight.
Pretty much. Yeah. They do have a scene where they're having like a little girls moment alone together and
drinking some alcohol.
Yeah. Maeve's making herself a martini. Starlight asks her for one. And they kind of connect a little bit more there.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that Maeve turns around a bit. I know what's going on after.
I'm not gonna say either way it goes, but I like Maeve's arc in the show for sure. Yeah.
So I do want to move on then from there to the point where the boys are on the run.
Okay.
It's pretty much after this point is when they realize, okay, A-Train's holding Huey's dad's hostage. MM has to call his family. Billy's apartment or whatever got raided, because throughout this whole time, everyone's panicking except for Billy.
Yeah.
Billy is just, I've got a mission.
Yeah.
I'm you guys are worried about this and that, whatever, but I'm worried about what's going on here. And part of me is thinking here, like, okay, like Billy has to have some sort of redemption, because he just is not, he's not a bad guy, but he's not a good guy.
Right. He's selfish is really what it is. Yeah. I don't know. It's like how we compared him to Captain Jack Sparrow, though. He's always, no matter what situations he's in, he's going to figure out something. And I think he knows that in a way. But it's only something for him.
Right.
It's not like, oh, I'm going to figure something for the squad. He's like, okay, we're put in this situation. Here's how we get Homelander now.
Yeah. It just,
'cause even when he walks into the compound where they're all hiding, he's so nonchalant. He's introducing himself to Huey's dad, goes to see Monique.
Right.
And,
right.
It's nothing is a big deal to him.
Yeah. And, I understand he's gone through a lot. Certainly at that point, more than any of the other boys, except maybe Kimiko.
Yeah.
Kimiko's gone through a lot.
Yeah.
But I just really hope that Billy at some point gets some sort of redemption and starts to be better as well, because really at the end of the day, he's just an unsouped superhero on the other side of the spectrum. Like,
right,
he's a good guy doing bad things, while the soups are just bad guys pretending to do good things.
Yeah,
it's like kind of opposite, like parallels there.
100%. Yeah,
and it's like I want Billy to have a turnaround.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll wait till we have our next episode, because there's a big like point that kind of talks to you what I think really what Billy's role in the show is. But we'll wait.
Right.
Yeah, he honestly this whole episode he's kind of pissed me off. Other than he did call Susan,
right?
But
he did. But help the family out.
He needed to like really get down on that, and then he's just like he doesn't tell him. He just lets them all come, and they're all getting scared because there's vans showing up.
Right.
He doesn't say anything to him, but he pisses me off because how nonchalant he is, and also what he does with Starlight at the end, where he just shoots her, and it's like, you're such a dickhead. Like,
Yeah.
she obviously isn't bad. You can tell by if you just go by you have her phone tapped.
Right, exactly. Like any sane person would realize, okay, Starlight's not actually a bad person.
No.
But he's just got such a thing against all soups. I think he's letting his rage for Homelander just think,
Yeah.
blindly say, okay, they're all bad people. And the things that he's discovered about the Seven, obviously,
Yeah.
is not helping his situation in turning things around, but still.
Yeah. So it seems like a majority of them are bad, but you've got to still have a
There's got to be some good ones.
Yeah.
So the other big part, I felt the next biggest part of this whole episode was Homelander and his whole discovery of everything going on with Becca. So I want to go through that a little bit as well here.
Yeah.
So when he goes to Madeline and starts asking her about it, she obviously knows what's going on, right? And Homelander kind of picks up on that. Do you think Madeline was maybe a little jealous of the situation? Because obviously, at the point where Homelander did what he did to Becca, him and Madeline probably didn't have, the kind of relationship they have now. And I think that's kind of evident even at the Christmas party, because
I don't think we see them interact.
They don't interact at all. But at that point, it almost seems like the Deep is more like Madeline's little plaything.
Maybe.
Like she's throughout the show, the Deep is kind of like Madeline has kind of just written the Deep off.
Yeah.
And I do want to touch on him because he has a little story arc here as well.
I freaking hate his story arc in this.
Really?
One.
I'm
disgusted by his story arc.
Well, but I want to talk about that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think at that point when he did whatever he did to Becca, he was dating Maeve at the time.
Yes.
But he wasn't, close with Madeline. When he starts asking her questions, I think it gets her just a slight bit jealous.
Oh, you think so?
I think so.
I didn't get that vibe at all.
I think so, because maybe not jealous necessarily, but she asks him, like, why are you asking all these questions and whatever? And he's just trying to, figure things out, whatever. But if I'm in Madeline's shoes and Homelander is, my little boy toy or whatever, and my plaything, and he starts asking about this other lady who, he has obviously, I wouldn't say a romantic past with, but a past with,
yeah,
that's going to make me feel some type of way.
Maybe
I'm her.
Maybe, I don't know. I think she's just so controlling that I don't think she's emotionally attached to him at all.
I wonder.
I
don't
personally
know.
don't.
I mean, clearly he has an emotional attachment to her.
100%.
That very mother-like, type of relationship. But then this whole path leads him to Vogelbaum, and this whole interaction was interesting as well, because the way I took it, it was almost like Madeline is mommy, Vogelbaum is daddy.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I'm clipping you calling Vogelbaum daddy.
Oh,
yeah. But no, I think you're 100% right. Even there, like some point, like I think Homelander talks to him about like how he was treated as a kid, and
yeah, well, I mean,
by
Vogelbaum basically tells him, like, I wish you would have been, had a normal upbringing, with a loving mother and father, not, doctors and scientists around.
Well, he wouldn't be the Homelander we know today, I'm sure.
Right. Well, and Homelander even says, he's like, well, I turned out okay. So at that point, I'm wondering, is Homelander just saying that to be funny and deflecting or whatever, or does he really think he turned out okay?
That's a good question. That I can't answer for you.
Because on the one hand, if he's just trying to be funny and deflect, then he knows he's not a good person, a normal person or whatever.
Right.
But on the other hand, if he truly thinks, hey, you guys experimented on me, did all this stuff, whatever, I turned out fine. Like,
then that's probably even worse.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and Vogelbaum even says to him, "You're my greatest mistake."
Right. Yeah. He basically says, like, as an experiment, he was a failure.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because, he's their most profitable asset. He brings in the most money.
He's the strongest.
He's the strongest, whatever. But I think that's why Vogelbaum thinks he's a failure, because I think when they were trying to create the soups, they're trying to create the soups to be able to control them. and they control Homelander to a degree, but I think they all kind of realize and understand that if he wanted to,
if they don't control him, they're fucked.
well, I think
The
they
world
also
is.
realize, like, yeah, if he wants to, he doesn't have to listen to any of them,
Yeah.
and can do whatever he wants. Which I go back to it, you know, we discussed it in a previous episode. It's like, why is Homelander so, you know, just nonchalant about the whole relationship with them? I mean, he listens to Madeline, and I think that's because of the relationship that they have.
Yeah.
But I mean, he has to know that he can do whatever he wants. If he's survived so many different things of his life, and, you know, all these encounters and stuff, he's got to know they can't do anything to me.
Yeah, he knows it. He knows, because remember, he talks to Maeve about it. He's like, why do we listen to them?
Yeah.
You know,
but it's like, why not just fly off the handle?
Money and sex, dude.
Money ain't everything.
And, you know, he hasn't gotten any from Madeline that we've seen, right? He gets teased by her a lot. So he's
true.
So he's really like, she's in control. She's got the power.
The power of ladies.
I was going to use a different word.
We're not
a clean show. We're watching The Boys. You know what I mean?
This is true.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, the interaction with Vogelbaum was interesting to me because of everything that was revealed. But then I'm also sitting there thinking, okay, if this baby, you know, died and Becca died, and like, if I'm Homelander, I'm hearing that, like, I'm probably a little bit pissed.
Oh yeah, and sad.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if he isn't a psycho and
I want to rewind,
has emotions.
I want to rewind a little bit.
Let's do it.
Do you think that Becca was raped, or do you think they went in and she cheated?
I think she had to have been.
I think so too. I just wanted to. That does, you know, they both went into the room.
It's Homelander.
Yeah.
Like,
and she was madly in love with Billy. Like, they always seem happy.
Like, in the flashback, when we first see Becca, you know, and they're being playful in bed, they seem madly in love. At the Christmas party, they seem madly in love. I can't imagine that she willingly went with Homelander. Like, maybe when they were going into the room, they were just discussing some business, you know, social media campaign or whatever, because she's like the social media manager. And then, you know, whatever happened, because especially when she comes out of the room, she's like, she does not seem well. Like, you know,
she's disheveled.
Well, yeah, but this is the thing. Like, in other movies or TV shows, right? You see somebody after a sex scene and they're disheveled, like, they're like, oh, they're smiling, you know, giggling, whatever. Like,
she's nervous.
Yeah. Like, she was disheveled, but she was like not happy.
Yeah.
So he had to have raped her.
I think so too. I just had to ask. I feel like the scene does give you the idea, like, you don't know which one it is. So
it might seem that way in some regards when you're watching it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the whole thing with Vogelbaum, I'm wondering too, then moving forward, like, are we gonna have more secrets dropped from Vogelbaum, or like other people who are involved? Because I feel like I remember when they first started talking about Compound V, I think MM had said that they've been doing this since like the 50s or something.
It was like real early, yeah.
Like, experimenting on the babies and whatnot.
Yeah.
So there's obviously a lot of history here. I don't know if they ever mention in the show like what year it is relative to our time or whatever.
It would be whatever year the show is released, I bet.
So let's assume it's 2019 or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, they basically have been doing experiments for almost 70 years.
So do you think there's some other characters that come from that?
There has to be.
Maybe.
But no, I mean, like, are there going to be like other people like Vogelbaum that it's like they're from the early days of Vought? And the other thing too is like,
maybe,
you know, the Madeline is getting orders from these head people of Vought. Like, she's the face of the company, but even she's answering.
Yeah, she is
to someone else.
Too. Yeah.
You know, so it's like there have to be some of those people that were like there from the beginning or the very early stages of the company that are obviously still pulling the strings and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure. I bet they're.
I mean, they talk about Mr. Edgar.
Yeah.
Which we haven't met yet, but I feel like there has to be more. There has to be more.
I'm sure. I mean, you got a show that's going to go on for what now? 4 seasons. You're going to get something.
Yeah.
Some history.
So I do want to
but
fast
I
forward.
do like Vogelbaum.
I do want to fast forward to the end of the show. When
let's
Huey is
before we get to the end, let's real quick. You can go ahead and talk about the deep stuff here.
Yeah,
go ahead. I'm just gonna close my ears on this one.
No, so look, I want to start off by saying the deep. While we haven't talked about him a whole lot on the show, I still think he's a decent character and somebody who kind of is like a bit of a break from all the tension that happens.
Yes, he's the comic relief.
If we recall from the episode where the Believe event happened and Starlight, tells everybody about what happened with her in the Deep without naming him, and then the episode after that where the Deep makes a public apology.
Yeah,
he's like on the outs now.
He's now in Sandusky, Ohio.
Right. Vought essentially reassigned him. So he's no longer in New York. He's in Sandusky, Ohio, which I've never even heard of Sandusky, Ohio.
Me neither.
It's,
sorry to the people who live in Sandusky, Ohio, if it's real.
Is it real? Yeah.
If it's real.
I don't know.
Sorry again if it is.
But throughout the episode, we're getting flashes of the Deep and where he's at in Ohio. He is there with, I guess, like a Vought handler, we'll say. And he has like a condo type apartment.
Yeah, and he gets like every day he gets a certain amount of money to spend on food. I was like, I'd live that life just fine.
If I'm getting $75 a day, if I'm getting like my housing paid for, I'm getting whatever else on the side, and then on top of that, somebody's giving me $75 a day for food.
Oh my
That's
god,
a good life.
I'm living the dream.
But obviously, for the Deep, somebody coming from the most famous group ever, like he's like, whoa, like what? But the Deep goes and he's just here and he's asking them. He's like, okay, well, what's gonna happen with like my crime itinerary or whatever? And they're like, oh, we don't really have that much crime here. But we got an amusement park with a water park opening soon, and they'd love to have you.
Yeah, I love it. I love too. Like this, it's just the Deep's not smart. He doesn't really understand what's happening.
No,
no,
not at all. He's not picking up on the fact that they're just kind of shelving him.
Yeah,
essentially being like, we need to separate from you.
Yeah,
and everything that happens.
And he's just like, I'm gonna do the crime here. Nope, there's no crime. By the way, no crime. I'll live there.
Yeah. Sure.
And he keeps asking this guy for something the whole time. Like, what can I do? And he's just, dude, just sit around, spend your $75 a day. That's all you're here to do now.
Right.
And be the face. You're gonna make Vought money by being the face of this water park and stuff like that.
Yeah. So at one point he goes to the supermarket to get his groceries and whatever.
This part's funny.
And he gets to the seafood section and they have like the lobsters in the tank. And he starts talking to one of them, and he basically is like, okay, I'm going to rescue you. So he asks the guy, he's like, hey, I want one of these lobsters. Picks a lobster out, and he's like thinking, okay, well, he's going to bag him up or whatever. Which I've never bought a lobster, a live lobster.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would do this at the store, but when the guy takes the lobster out, the Deep, he's just like, oh, okay, great. And then the guy pulls a knife out. He's like, no, and the dude stabs
right through the brain,
in the head, and just kills it. And
this is the Deep in a nutshell. Even when he tries to do something good, he fucks up because
with the dolphin.
Yeah,
he's trying to do things that he thinks are going to be helpful, and they're just not.
Yeah, he fails at everything.
Right. Now, this is the other part that was disgusting, but I do want to talk about it. So the Deep, he's there in Sandusky, Ohio. He's living his new life. He is a womanizer, as we know.
Yeah.
He brings a lady to the apartment at one point. And they're making out, they're getting hot and heavy, he's wanting to initiate stuff, and she's a little bit more into it, I think, than he is.
Yeah.
And then she asks him to like take his shirt off, or maybe she motions for him to do so, and he's like, oh no, I'm not like everybody else. She's like, no, I want to see it. And he takes his shirt off, and he's got like gills all over.
Like, and they're super realistic.
They are.
Yeah, it's gross. Yeah.
Like starts touching them or whatever, and I think she is like, oh, this is nice. Or I think he kind of gets a little bit of relief at first because he's like, well, if she sees it, she's going to be disgusted. Then he sees that she's not, and he's like,
oh yay, yeah.
Cool. They get to the couch, they start moving a little more forward with stuff, and then she like kind of pokes him in one of the gills. He's like, oh, ouch, like don't do that. But then she keeps doing it, and he's like, whoa, I told you that hurts, like stop.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, like I want to. And then she's even pleasuring herself. She's doing a little rub action on himself while getting up in his gills.
Oh my God, dude, this scene.
And essentially, it's almost like the tables are being turned.
Right. Yeah, 100%. This is supposed to be a lesson for him.
Right. So he's getting assaulted where before he was the assaulter.
Yeah.
Now, part of me was like, okay, you had what was coming to you. But then the other part of me is like two wrongs don't make a right.
No, right.
So I'm torn here.
I honestly, the only thing about it was gross. I hated seeing her get into the gills
and the motions. And
so
everything.
I'm gonna be straight honest with everybody here. Second time around, fast forward past that part.
You didn't watch it?
No, I hate that scene. I absolutely hate that scene. I knew it was coming. I was like, "Yep, we're skipping this one."
Yeah. I watched it just because I didn't want to miss.
Well, yeah, you had to. You know it was coming.
It was disgusting.
Yeah.
I mean, just the visual and the sound of that whole scene was nasty. But I also almost feel bad for him.
Almost. Yeah, I can
because I remember then what he did.
Yeah.
And to one of the actual good people on the show. So I immediately am like, you know what? No. But then it's like I'm weighing it here and I'm like, did him getting assaulted, was it worth it?
Did it make it right?
Him learn a lesson here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe. We'll have to find out later.
I guess so.
Find out next time.
So before we do get to the end here,
okay,
I want to wrap things up.
Yeah, wrap it.
Was there anything else you wanted to go over?
No, I honestly, there was the Hughie and Starlight whole story, but we'll probably hop into that when we talk about them getting together on the bench. It was the only thing I had extra noted there.
So with that whole situation, Starlight, I think, is wanting to believe that Hughie's a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
She sees him on the screen at the meeting with the five, and she's kind of beside herself about the situation. And then seeing how she reacts when he starts telling her like, hey, yes, we did kill Translucent or whatever, she's not happy.
No.
Do you think she still likes him though? Like, does she still have those romantic feelings for him?
I mean, at that point, I think romantic feelings might be gone at that exact moment. There obviously is some kind of care for him because she wanted to arrest him. Right. I think she personally thought that would be the safest route for him.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm gonna take it here. You're safe with the cops, which you're probably not. But she's naive and thinks that way. So yeah, I do think there's some care for him still.
All right.
Romantically, I don't know. It's a weird vibe, like at this point now, because it's like they were really into each other.
Very much so.
And
at the beginning of the episode, we didn't touch on this, but at the beginning of the episode, they
got down and dirty. Yeah.
For the first time.
They had sex. You know what? They had sex.
They did.
I'm just trying to. This is not G-rated podcast. The show is not rated G.
You're absolutely right.
They done fucked. All right. And yeah, I mean, she even afterwards, like, this is great and all, but are you telling me the whole truth? You took me home. You took me to a hotel. And you don't talk about work.
Right.
So he has to kind of lie still a little bit about it. So that's the big thing with her, I think, is honesty.
Yeah.
So he does come out and be honest, but at that point, it's like, wow. There's a lot.
Too late.
Yeah, and plus what you did for her is pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
To see.
Now, when he was kind of telling her about the fact that she's not born the way she is, and that the soups were experiments and whatever. I won't lie, when the red dot first went on her, I thought it was Homelander.
I thought it was Vought in some way. Yeah.
I thought it was Homelander, like, with his laser vision, like trying to aim at her or whatever. And I thought, especially because when they were arguing earlier and I thought they were going to fight, I thought this was going to be a fight. And, this close to the season finale, it probably wouldn't have been. That would have been maybe something for a finale.
Yeah, it's the penultimate episode, so I could see the fight.
Okay, first off, that word, the Matrix is matrixing, because I only found out what that word meant like a year ago.
Okay.
And ever since I found out about it, I hear it
all the time. Yeah, when you hear it, yeah.
I don't know why, but now you know what? I don't like that word.
You don't like it?
I don't like it.
I kind of like it.
I think it sounds too fancy.
Say
Say penultimate.
Oh, dude.
And
Nice.
for those of you that don't know, penultimate is
Yeah.
second to last.
Yeah.
The one before the end.
Yeah.
The end before the end.
Which for usually in a show, things really rise up in that episode. So
Right.
makes sense. I thought maybe there would be a fight in this episode. There wasn't. When I first watched the show, I thought he was going to dive on Starlight and try to save her and
the blow,
but not get shot, obviously.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, "Oh my God, he tried to help me," but no. Yeah. Instead, he runs away. Like,
well, and you know what? Like he's at first when she first gets shot and she goes down, he's like trying to see like if she's okay and whatever, and he's concerned about it, whatever. But then he ultimately just runs away with Billy Butcher.
Yeah.
Who they had an argument earlier about
this
the
whole thing.
situation. It's like, dude, if you really like this girl, are you really gonna run away with the dude who just shot her?
Yeah. Dude, that whole scene pissed me off. Billy pissed me off. Huey pissed me off. Yeah, because it seemed like he was like,
Right.
He went back to old Huey, like, I don't know what to do. I'm not making my own decisions.
Yeah, like I feel like Huey the whole time has been building up to like be not the weak,
Look how badass he was against A-Train in the apartment.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then you're right. He goes back to just being old Huey.
Yeah.
So yeah, just very weird.
Yeah.
That being said, everything that happens throughout the episode, just one awesome scene after another.
Yeah.
One great thing after another. The fact that the terrorist organization has a soup.
Yeah.
That's
it was super villain, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Because now, and when Madeline was in with Susan and she leaves, she even makes a comment. She's like, "Oh, I hope that's nothing serious or something." Like as Susan's leaving,
right?
Like, I hope everything's okay or whatever. And I think it's because Madeline knows, like, oh well, this is what's going on. So my butt is saved.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Maybe not.
But yeah, so I think that's going to be interesting moving forward. And I'm wondering, like, are there going to be a ton more like bad soups? Because this is the thing, right? If the terrorists have soups, it's not like it is in America where the soups are bad people, but we just don't know it.
Yeah.
Like,
they're still controlled.
Yeah, the terrorists are bad people and we know it.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be an interesting dynamic moving forward. And I'm excited to see where that goes. Like, is that going to be a pivot point for some of the soups that are the American soups that are bad people to maybe be like, well, now I actually have to be good. Now I actually have to do some good things here.
Maybe.
So yeah, that's all I had here for the episode. I did want to go through a small screen scoop or two.
Talk to me.
Give me 1 second to pull my fangs up here. So the title of this episode is actually a reference to an old song. It's Casper Time, parentheses, the Self-Preservation Society, by Quincy Jones, one of like the greatest musicians / producers of all time. And that was in the soundtrack to The Italian Job, the original,
the OG
from way back. The other thing too is that this is the title of issues 31 through 34 of the comic. And it's funny, we were talking about Sandusky. And again, I don't know if Sandusky is real, but Eric Kripke is originally from Ohio. And so he probably knew, oh, well, there's, let's just send him here because nothing happens.
Or maybe he knows about the water park there because that would make sense for the Deep to go to the water park. Maybe. Yeah.
And then Mallory, who they've only referred to as Mallory. Her full name is Grace Mallory.
Yeah.
And in the comics, Mallory is actually Greg Mallory.
Oh.
So
a little switcheroo.
Yeah, interesting. I know people kind of get bent out of shape when movies or TV shows make changes like that. They make a guy a girl or vice versa, or they switch, the ethnicity of somebody. As long as the main plot doesn't surround that person being a girl or a guy or a specific ethnicity, I don't care who is playing
right
or how they make them. Like, if it's not central to that character,
I think it's more how well can they play that character's
Exactly.
personality. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the small screen scoops that I had here.
Well done, Alex.
I am excited for the season finale. I'm really hoping that we have a big event happen, and you just are gonna have to
Do
tune
we
in.
find out next time
on Dragon Ball Z.
Small screen couch commentary.
Yeah. But yeah, keep an eye out for this episode on YouTube. Keep an eye out for an ear out for the podcast.
Yeah.
It'll be dropping on Sundays. Also, just so everyone is aware, we also have our second podcast with Avatar, which we have our 2 episodes out on YouTube, 2 episodes out on all the podcast networks. We're going to be going week to week with that. And I'm excited for where both of these shows go. Obviously, we've got a lot more of the boys to get through.
A lot.
But happy to see we're getting some more interactions with people.
Thank you.
Comments on YouTube. We're
Thank
getting
you.
Comments on Facebook.
Thank you.
Some of our other areas. Continue to do that. We want to hear from you guys and just bring you more content.
We enjoy it.
Absolutely. All right. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.